Mounce, BBG, chapter 28, sentence 10, last one, and what a bear. Okay. Um, Again, starting with that chi, so then you run into your first participle. Hopefully you recognize that as coming from apokrynomai. As soon as you do that, then you say, well, even though I've got that passive ending, thase, thasathen, where the memory forms that you were supposed to memorize. So even if you know that, you still say, well, it's deponent because it's from apokrynomai, which pretty much across the board is deponent. So then you can just translate it as a simple participle and say, and answering Jesus, and then here you have L again, which hopefully you recognize by now as having that third singular ending. Present stem augment tells you it's imperfect, so it was he was saying. And then here you have simple present participle, right, from didasco. And again, masculine nominative singular. So again, going back to the same guy, Jesus, then except you're just going to translate as teaching in the temple, and hopefully you recognize that part of a prepositional phrase easily enough. So then you have the quote, but before we do the quote, like I said, you got two participles. You got to figure out the time relationship to this. He was saying. He was saying in the temple, and he was saying in the temple teaching. So he was teaching at the same time that he was saying. So here you sort of have to modify it and say like while teaching. You could do a comma and, something like Jesus was saying, comma, teaching in the temple. That'll work, but no reason not to just insert the word while, because, again, you're talking about something that happened at the same time. So then you go to apokrithos and say, well, did answering happen at the same time, or was that before? What's the time relationship? And I would say, yeah, this is another one that happened at the same time. So you could just simply run with if you were trying to figure out this and this, a lot of translators probably go with something like, and Jesus answered and said, but that's not really, for the purposes of your translation, you're trying to get across the idea of the participle as much as you can. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do something like an answering, comma, Jesus was saying while teaching in the temple. And here's what he said. How, and then you got this subject here, the scribes, right? So, and then you got a third plural verb. So that's easy enough. But with the how, it tells you you're probably dealing with a question mark. Well, there's your question mark. So how do the scribes say, right? How do the scribes say that the Christ, the Son of David, is? Right? If I just do it word by word. So how do the scribes say that the Christ is the Son of David? Of course, is the way you can run with it. Okay, question mark. Okay, and then you have autos David, he David, or himself David. So David himself, right? And that'll fit with that third singular, from Lego going to apon. David himself said in the Holy Spirit. That prepositional phrase should be easy enough. So David himself said in the Holy Spirit, the Lord said, right? And again, aorist there, third singular, the Lord said to my Lord. Okay, and then he gives you this, sit, and from my right hand, dexios, from my right hand is not the way we would say it. It doesn't collocate right. So we would say sit at my right hand or sit by my right hand. Probably best to go with at my right hand. I think that's the way we would probably most commonly say that. So sit at my right hand until, and there's just a particle, I place the enemies of you, or your enemies, And then hupakato is under the feet of you or your feet. So a lot of that he kind of gives you. So that's not that big a deal. Now, putting it all together, that's the trick. And answering, comma, Jesus was saying while teaching in the temple, how did the scribes say that the Christ is the son of David? David himself said in the Holy Spirit, the Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I place your enemies under your feet.